Okay. Welcome back to Comic Book History, episode 57. Yep, 57. Here I'm talking about the Doom Patrol. You're probably thinking, the Doom Patrol? You're talking about these guys? Yep. Now, Doom Patrol first appeared back in My Greatest Adventure number 80. Credited by Arnold Drake. Arnold Drake, Bob Haney, and Bruno Premedini, I think it's pronounced the guy's name. Yes. Fun little factoid about the Doom Patrol. They made their debut 1 month prior to the X-Men. Some say this group is pretty much DC's answer to the X-Men. Excuse me, mostly anyways. Mostly put, this was a 4-person team with a couple of associate members. The members were Dr. Niles Cordair, a.k.a. The Chief. We had Larry Traynor, Negative Man, Rita Farr, Elastigirl, and the one character who was part of every single volume of Doom Patrol from this point up until very recently, Cliff Steele, a.k.a. Robot Man. Yep, these 4 people, though mostly was a 3-man team in the field. And you're probably curious though, like, who the heck they fight in their original volume? It is by far one of the most strangest things I have ever seen. Now, despite the fact, yes, these 4 were in fact the founding members of the Doom Patrol. Yep. And here's the interesting thing. They had some villains. You're probably thinking, what the heck is some of these villains' names? Because it is by far one of the most strangest names I have ever seen. Now, their main villain is known as the Brotherhood of Evil. Yes, and the members consist of, get this, a guy in a tube, basically this thing in a tube known as the Brain. There is also Monsieur Mala, a talking gorilla with a French accent. We also have Warp, Plasmus, Hurricane, Phobia, Trinity, Elephant Man, Goldilocks, General Mortis, who actually played a role toward the end of the action first time, Matarus, and Gigantics. Yeah, this was in fact the primary main villains of the frickin' Doom Patrol. And here's the interesting thing. Now, initially, they did appear in My Greatest Adventure 80, and then 6 issues later, the series renamed to Doom Patrol Volume 1, Issue 86, and it lasted to Doom Patrol number 121, despite the fact there was still 122 and 124, which all these issues were just, let's just say, reprint issues. 121 is considered by many to be the actual finale for the series. The other 3 issues just reprint issues, don't really matter for them. Now, in these issues, we also got a chance to 2 new characters. One of whom happened to be Steve Dayton, a.k.a. Mento. A guy who was one of the richest men in the world, and he was in love with Elastigirl. A woman he would later marry, and they would not have any children together per se, because I don't know why they never had children together, but they did adopt a child, yes. Who did they adopt? Future Teen Titans member Beast Boy. Yep, Garfield Logan. He made his first appearance in this book in issue 99 of all things. Yep, and here's the thing. 5 issues after the guy's debut, we had Elastigirl and Steve and Mento get married. Yep, and they stayed married up until the end of the series. Where, aside from... Now here are the other villains aside from the Brotherhood of Evil. We also had the Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man. That's not a joke. That is seriously the name of this guy. Yep. This guy even appeared for an episode of Brave and the Bold. Yep. Like, his appearance is one of the most strange... It's basically goofy Silver Age stuff. And, yeah, this guy was a villain for them. There was also Miss Nobody and Shrapnel. You're probably thinking, Shrapnel? Did this guy show up on Arrow? Yes, he did. He was a conspiracy theorist. He got killed off in his second appearance. Yes. Almost forgot, there's also General Zal. Yeah, he made his first appearance in the final issue of the original run. Yep. Now, they pretty much had a lot of Silver Age adventures, basically sci-fi Silver Age adventures throughout the 60s, and they even had a couple crossovers, like they made guest appearance in the Teen Titans, the original line for the series, and they had to team up with the Metal Men. Yes, the Metal Men, the group of 5 freaking robots created by a scientist named Dr. Will Magnus. And their female member, Titanium, who's basically Tina, had a thing for him for a long time. That's what the character was. She basically was clinging to him a lot of the time. In the case of Robot, he never did have a love interest per se. Here's the thing about what these people were doing. Now, Rita Farr was an actress. Larry Trainer was a test pilot. And what did Cliff Steele do before he became a robot? He was a race car driver, which apparently when he died, they decided to save his brain, transfer the body of a freaking robot. Which, from what I've read, he hated that. He hated being a freaking robot. That's him for you. Yep. And despite the fact he had a lot of really cool stuff with Doom Patrol, eventually the book was canceled, low sales, issue 121. So they decided to have them sacrifice themselves to save a small island for New England. Like, okay. So they all sacrificed themselves. And by the way, what happened with this not be filled up for over 20 years? Yep. And then, like, 10 years later, yes, 10 years ago by for Doom Patrol, and something awesome happened. We had Paul Kupperberg, yes, this guy, the same guy who created Checkmate, brought back Doom Patrol in the late 70s in 3 issues of Showcase. Yep, from 94 to 96. He basically had it where somehow Robot Man survived the explosion that killed off the Doom Patrol. Though later revealed that Doc Niles Cordair survived. And also, they also retconned where Larry Trainer survived, but not Elastigirl. She been dead for a long time. It was revealed back in 2006 that she actually did die. Well, everybody else survived. Okay, back what I was saying, yes. Now, in the case of the group themselves, after this 3-part appearance, now we had this sort of new team of Doom Patrol, which Cliff did lead the team. At the start of it, in the original Showcase issue, we had a debut of Valentina Vosic, who was basically, well, they're kind of negative. There's also Arna Desikounder, who during the book was considered to be the ex-wife of Niles Cordair. Yep. Yep. Yeah. And then they popped up in a few other guest star books in order to hype the start of the new Doom Patrol series, like the guest star in a few issues of the Superman family, all the Superman family, which was the Supergirl feature. They guest starred a couple issues of Supergirl, and they also appeared in an issue of DC Comics Presents. But before the launch of the series, they, had a guest star appearance in Robot Man did in a 3-part for New Teen Titans, which actually served as a sequel to the actual death of Doom Patrol back in Doom Patrol 121. Or Robot Man was revealed to actually be looking for Madame Rouge and General Zao. Oh, they found them alright. And Beast Boy pretty much went on a frickin' rampage against Madame Rouge and caused her to die as payback for killing the Doom Patrol. General Zod was later killed in the book anyways. He was killed by... Oh, and also in the book, the Brotherhood of Evil actually teamed up with the Teen Titans to take out these two. Because apparently, because the book was ending, they decided to have it where Madame Rouge tried to kill the Brotherhood of Evil for some strange reason, and then the course goes separate ways. The Brotherhood of Evil did occasionally appear in New Teen Titans, but not very much. Nope. And then, of course, then we had the start of the actual ongoing series, launched in, let's see, I think it was like 1980. It was 1987. First having a Secret Origins book, which basically serves as the backstory of basically this book. And Kupperberg himself basically write the book. For the first 18 issues, had an annual and a special. Yes, a special, which served as a crossover with the frickin' Suicide Squad. Yep, and of course also Eric Larson. Yes, Eric Larson, the creator of Savage Dragon, will be one of the artists of the book. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, why in the world did... Now, he left... Now, Paul Kupperberg left issue 18. The reason being because, from the information I've read, apparently the book was not a big financial hit for DC. So, he left. Now, there was also other characters like Joshua Clay, a.k.a. Tempest. Yeah, and of course Cliff. So, basically a 4 person team again. Yep, and then, like, as soon as basically toward the end of his tenure, we had the woman who basically brought this version of there died in the second to last issue of, well, his run, basically his run. Yeah, died in issue 17. Tempest stopped using his code name. Yeah, he became the physician for the group for some strange reason. Yep. Negative Woman lost her powers and went to checkmate. Apparently Kupperberg took her with her. Let's see. Larry Trainer joined issue 2. Merged Rebus in issue 19, which was the start of Grant Morrison's run. We also had Let's Own Papa, who went to coma in Invasion. You have Karma, who died in issue of Suicide Squad. Blaze, who joined issue 6, died in also in Invasion. We had Niles Cordair, who joined issue 16, who apparently died in issue 9, but came back, and then he apparently died at the end of the book. And that was people who joined during Kupperberg's run. Now, I've read it. It's actually a pretty good run. Surprisingly, it's shocking to see that apparently this book was not a big hit at the time. So, my guess is he's like, okay, let's try something different. You're probably thinking, are they going to hit the restart but like Marvel does nowadays? Oh no, they didn't do that. They changed the writer. Who they changed it to? Grant Morrison. Yes, Grant Morrison wrote The Doom Patrol. Yes, he also wrote this book at the same time he wrote his critical acclaim run for Animal Man. If you ever get a chance to read it, it's a damn good run. 26 issues. And that was it. Yeah, it was a really damn good run. Now, Grant Morrison came out with issue number 19. He did the second annual for the book, the Vertigo Jam. Excuse me. And the book itself was actually pretty decent. He did reveal a couple things that probably were negatively received. Even I agree, basically, even from my perspective, it's not a good idea. Where during this run, he revealed 2 things. One, I think some people may have suspected this, and this is still remaining canon this very day. Like, one thing he revealed, and this is probably a pretty negative thing, he revealed in the book that the Chief was actually responsible for the conditions of the original Doom Patrol. Yep, he was responsible for the accidents. And, yeah, he became bad and killed Tempest to cover up his crime. Yep. He killed him off, I think it was like toward the end of Grant Morrison's run. His run actually ended with issue 64, believe it or not. It was a pretty lengthy run. And another thing they revealed in this run, now the book itself was very odd, very weird, because that's Grant Morrison for you. And do I think the book is like as overrated as, let's say, Brian K. Vaughan's My Last Man? Not necessarily. It's a bit overrated, but not as bad as that. So, one thing he revealed during the run was that Mission Mala and the Brain had a thing for each other. And apparently, like, the Brain took over the body of Robot Man, who basically was a black robot body for some strange reason. Some Niles Cordair did. And basically, he revealed that, oh yeah, Mishima, I love you. Kiss me. And then he's like, but first, spit the gum out. And then about to kiss, and boom, they blow up. Oh, don't worry, they're perfectly fine. Yep, starts of their romantic relationship and still continues to the very day. The Brain and Monsieur Mala as a gay couple. That's Grant Morrison for you, doing weird things. Now this, I don't have a problem with this. It keeps the two characters together. Now think about Monsieur Mala, the reason why that she actually talks is because the Brain did that to him. As for why the Brain is way the way he is, apparently he used to be an assistant to Niles Cordair, and an accident. Not like what this is something I think that the Brain did to himself. That's what the Brain's real name is. It's, as far as I could tell, it's never been revealed what his real name was. He was simply referred to as the Brain, because that's all he is, a freaking talking brain, whereas basically his cellular tube is basically shaped like a skull. Yep, and after Grant Morrison left in issue 64, you have Rachel Pollack take over the book for remaining issues of the book. Now, also I should point out, though, the base operations. The original base was a brownstone in New York, and then I think it was during Kupperberg's run, they switched over to Secret Sanctuary for a brief period of time. And Grant Morrison was some weird halfway house, and they kind of continued this in Pollack's run, where apparently Niles Cordair was reduced to a head. It was not that good of a run per se, a pretty good artwork. Nothing really bad with this run, and then the book just ended issue number 87 with Niles Cordair's death, the final issue. And you're probably thinking, is that the end of Doom Patrol? Well, kind of. For about 8 years. Yep, basically for 8 years. So, we have a new Doom Patrol done by John Acton. Yes, the guy who worked on BPRD with Mike Mignola. Now, the initial line of the book, you're probably thinking, who the heck do you know? Aside from Robot Man, which this is actually not the real person, it was revealed a few issues later, which is a hallucination caused by Crazy Jane, which was revealed during this book that apparently Crazy Jane fell in a coma after the end of the second volume for Doom Patrol. So, at the end of the book, she died. Yes. The Railroad Man found her and took her off life support. Yep. Now, who joined this group? Basically, aside from Robot Man himself, a character known as Fever, Freak, and Kid Stack. We have additions of Garfield. We have Beast Boy, Dr. Light, Elongated Man, Metamorpho, and Fast Forward. Interesting. Yeah. The Beast Boy joined because he didn't like the fact there was a group called Doom Patrol. It was kind of a corporate group. It was like a corporate volume, and it was by far a very strange volume. And this book ended after just 18 issues. Yep. And then just 2 years later, we have the introduction of another Doom Patrol book, this time by John Byrne, where he retconned everything to be out of existence for a while until everything is brought back normal. He basically brought along for issues 94 to 99 of JLA, he brought like Chris Claremont to co-write these issues, where it used a new Doom Patrol. Which, by the way, John Byrne would not only write the Doom Patrol book, he would also draw it as well. And like the John Aston third volume, this book was also 18 issues. It was not a terrible one per se. It was actually a little bit better, in my opinion, than the previous volume. Because this was interesting, but here's the thing. The group is headquartered out of a freaking prison in Florida. Yes, it was an abandoned prison. It was a Civil War prison. They had a Ghost Rider team. Now, aside from the original founding four, we also have additions of Grant, Nudge, and Vortex, who all joined in the initial 94. When the book first started, a book woman named Faith, who basically first appeared in issue 4, quit 4 issues later, and then Beast Boy, Bumblebee, Mento, and Fox joined in the book too. Yep. And this was, even though I didn't like the retcons of this book, it was still a pretty good book altogether. Yep. Of course, basically things in Infinite Crisis and in the Page of Teen Titans, basically all the version Patrol were basically deemed canon, and after Infinite Crisis, basically with Villain 52, that Niles Cordair found the skull of Rita Farr and kind of rebuilt it and basically made her a partial cyborg. Yep. Oh, and here's the thing. Still smoking hot woman. Yep. And And Beast Boy stuff first was Mom. Now, for her, it was Mom. Now, we had sort of a backdoor pilot to a new Doom Patrol series released in 2009, I think it was. Basically, this book came out. I actually started reading the book a little bit later. Or as of all people, Keith Giffen. Yes, Keith Giffen wrote this book. And originally put the series backdoor pilot was a 4-issue miniseries. It was 52 after the Full Horsemen, where, get this, the Doom Patrol was based on an island where its president was Veronica Cale for the pages of Wonder Woman. Yep. No joke about that. And this book basically backed the classic style Doom Patrol from the 60s, but basically told from my perspective. So, you had the Founding Four once again. You had Nudge and Harry Butcher, who got killed or at least missing in action in the first issue. You had Bumblebee join the team. Black Hole, Mentor joined the team. Crazy Jane, Danny the Street, yeah, he was a character from Grant Morrison. And Ambush Bug. Yep. And if you're curious though, how long did this book last for? 22 issues. Yep. And the strange thing is, that I'll talk about the trades in a minute, but the final trade was never released I'll get to that. So, and then pretty much here's the thing. Like, it was later revealed about 2 years after this book ended. Like, they bring a new Doom Patrol. Though they had members appear prior to this. Like, they had the debut of Elemental, who actually was the original character Jeff Johns created, who did appear in the current continuity, didn't do a lot, though she did Doom Patrol. Robot Man actually was part of the second volume of Mighty Curious Adventure. Yeah, he was part of this book prior to his debut, which that was interesting. The Chief made his first appearance in the pages of the Ravengers, and then during the flashback that apparently in Just League 24 we had the 3 people part of the new Doom Patrol join before the actual members did, where Cestus, Tempest, and Negative Woman joined 24, though apparently they died, but they later revealed we actually faked their deaths. Lois Scorch and Karma, interesting papers from New Doom Patrol, along with Rita Farr and Negative Man. Yep. Yeah, they were just part of the Justice League, the very Aftermath storyline from Justice League, where they basically were interested in going after powering than actually bowing to save people's lives. Yes, and here's the thing. The way that Niles Cares was one thing, he was not in a wheelchair. Yeah, a lot of the time Niles Cares was seen he was in a wheelchair. Though here's the strange thing about that, is that he actually had the hover wheelchair before Charles Xavier ever did. So, and Jeff Johns wrote him like the Grant Morrison one. Also in this book, apparently Elasta Woman apparently couldn't stop smiling because a smile was part of the fixture. Yeah, and after the storyline wrapped up, this version of Patrol was never seen again. And then they had sort of a semi-reboot of Doom Patrol for Young Animal, done by Gerald Way. And these as members: Roadman, Casey Bark, who actually was the original character for the book, really good character. Danny the Street, later Danny the Break, Danny Ambulance, and Danny Land. Sam Reynolds, Ricardo, the Chief, Lickon, Terry Nunn, Negative Man, Flex Metallo. Yeah, he's a Grant Morrison character who was, get this, the hero of the beach. Yeah, he was basically a spoof of old, basically, Muscleman ads. And he did get his own miniseries that Grant Morrison didn't write, but it was set in different continuity. And by the way, Frank Quitely did the artwork, which is actually a pretty good miniseries. It's pure fun. Even though it's not canon to the regular DC version, it was a really good miniseries. Yep. And if you're curious though, did Elastigirl join this group? Yes. In the Doom Patrol JLA special. Yep. That's when she first joined. And yeah, with this book was, even though it's part Young Imprint, this book also suffered through delays. Yes, it was delayed. Well, for good reason. And the reason was because Gerald Way was basically also the lead singer for Chemical Romance. And the guy, his previous comic experience was from Umbrella Academy. Yes, he wrote that series. I've never read it, but he did write it. Yep. And this book lasted for about 13 issues. Also as part of Milk War stuff. And after that, it was basically had Way of the Worlds, which this book, surprisingly, of all their books that were relaunched after the Milk Wars, which all ended the 60s, this went in after 7 issues. Yes, 7. Presumably low sales, and that was it for Doom Patrol. Though, despite being said never continuity, this Doom Patrol book was just pure fun, and elements basically of the Grant Morrison run, and a little bit of the Arnold Drake run basically rolled into modern day, which I thought was really good. Mm-hmm. Oh, and the leader team was not the Chief or Robot Man. It was actually Casey Burke. She was leader of the Doom Patrol, which, that's interesting. An original character leading the Doom Patrol. Yep. But not much else to say. Well, one thing I should mention, though, is their appearance outside the comic books. First was this really good 2-parter from Teen Titans called Homecoming, where they had the Teen Titans team with the Doom Patrol in purple attires. Yes, this is the attire they wore back in the 60s. And basically, they had where Mento was leader of the group, always for some reason, and not the Chief. Yeah, Chief was never seen in the series, and thanks to this 2-parter, we had the Brotherhood of Evil become the main villains of the final season of the show. But in case you're curious, is there any appearance in Doom Patrol? Well, they appeared in an episode of Batman Brave and the Bold, which was a loose adaptation of Doom Patrol 121. And there's the streaming service live action show, which features Cyborg part of the team, even though he had nothing to do with the team at all. Yeah, the team of the show was comprised of the Chief, Kelsis, Bloodstone, Mento, Crazy Jane, Cyborg obviously, Last Woman, Negative Man, Larry Trainer, Road Man, Flex Metallo, Dorothy Spinner, and Beast Boy. Yep. Yeah, I will eventually get a chance to watch this, but not right now. I heard it's actually a pretty good series. Yep. But not much else to say about Doom Patrol. They're an awesome group. And the very next comic history, I will talk about Captain Atom. Okay? See you next video. Bye.